Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We certainly can interpret facts and evidence, but we can't really make them being just ours, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. I can interpret if these glasses are good or bad or something like that, or if I like them or I don't like them. But I can't really make the claim that these are not glasses. But I can't make that. Hey guys, these are not glasses, all right? These are, I don't know, underwear. You can't really make your own facts here. You can make your interpretation, or give an assessment of your likes or dislikes. So the same thing here when you talk about numbers. Mathematics or arithmetics, they work in the same way in France, Germany, United States, Israel, everywhere. 1 plus 1 is still 2, you know what I mean? But somehow these guys are just turning this kind of, how should I put it, rules that are obvious upside down according to how they fit their interest. Now, I'm going to give you this little article from Ukrainska Pravda, and this is what Ben Wallace, Minister of the Secretary, UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace, stated. He says as 97% of Russian army estimated to be in Ukraine. UK Defense Secretary says. So 97% of the Russian army. I gotta tell you that before I made this one, I looked down here, the whole article, which is not long, to find out numbers. More than 97, and I will tell you why. I am 100% certain that you guys know how to calculate a percentage. And when I was a child, I learned like this. 50 pieces of bread is, if 50 pieces of bread is 100%, 25 pieces of bread is how many percentages? And you make diagonal with the X and you find it. Very easy. Do you know another way? That what I'm trying to say is not necessarily the method, but in this method, which is the way I learned to find out percentages, maybe there's some other ways, but I don't know them. You must know the total number, right, and the number that you have. So Mr. Ben Wallace, when he says 97%, he must know the total number of the Russian military, right? He says Russian army, right? He must know, and how much is right now involved over there, and therefore he can find out the percentages out of the whole. He finds out how many are over there. Otherwise, but he doesn't say that. Why is he not saying that, you think? Is he afraid? He was too, doesn't get involved with that? What could have been for him to say, you know what, they have 3,529,000 people over there, and that they use, 2 million, blah, 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 and that is 97% approximately, okay? No, I don't think they have the information. I think they have only the mouth, but they use it in the wrong way right now. So let's see what's going on here in this article, and then I will come with some numbers myself, if you know what I mean. You don't have to trust me. You can verify it on your own. So this article comes from, as I said, Ukrainska Pravda. This gentleman, I don't know if he's a gentleman, this man says that 97% of Russian army estimated to be in Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he doesn't give us a number. Now let's check it out. What's this? This is from Wikipedia. Are they wrong? No, because they're going to use CIA information right here. Okay? They're going to use other kind of information, so I don't think they're very off. So they say here, Russian armed forces, right? This guy says Russian army. Now, I don't know if he refers to what and whom, but anyway, let's go here. Let's see how many people these guys have in their army here, and active and so on. Let's say personnel, active personnel. Approximately 1,155,000. With reserve personnel, 2 million people. That's the reserve personnel. So together they have 3,154,000 people. Now I don't know how many they have over there, but at least they should have this, the first number, 1,154,000. If it's, let's calculate from that, 97%, you get to 1 million, I would guess. All right, let's go. Since he doesn't give me numbers, I try to give my own numbers based on evidence. UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace has stated that almost the entire Russian army, this is the Russian army, my friends, right here. Almost the entire Russian army is estimated to be in Ukraine. Wallace on air with BBC Radio 4 reported by European Pravda. And details. While commenting on Moscow's offensive strategy, Wallace said that Russia has not been able to amass a single force, and quote, to punch through Ukraine's defenses. That's incorrect. I just saw an article today. Actually, the Russians broke through in Liman area. So anyway, not only there, but in Luhansk, which is Liman area, and so on, in Kupiansk, that area. Not in Bakhmut yet. Rather, and I'm quoting, we've just seen an effort to advance, which is successful. You reported that they advanced about 2 to 3 miles, which is not a lot in the 48 hours since the operation, the new so-called invasion, or how are we going to, not invasion, offensive operation started. So, and I'm quoting this guy again, that has come at a huge cost for the Russian army. We now estimate 97% of the Russian army, the whole Russian army. Okay, so the whole Russian army is right here. The whole Russian army. They don't have anybody on the borders anymore. They're all there. The whole Russian army is in Ukraine, Wallace said. I think I strongly doubt that. Why? Because he doesn't give me any numbers and nobody else gives me numbers. He has added that the West is strengthening its own security by helping Ukraine defeat Russia in the war. That's 100% certain. If, and I'm quoting, if 97% of the Russian army is now committed to Ukraine. Wait a second. You didn't make the case for this one. So now he's drawing a conclusion. This is how these guys are making news and draw conclusions. They come with this, with 97%, which is an estimate. He said, right here, we estimate. So from an estimate that provides no evidence, now they're going to draw a conclusion on an estimate. Like I tell you, I think tomorrow I'll be Superman, so since tomorrow I'll be Superman, I will bring peace. Well, I'm not Superman, I just say that I might be Superman. So you turn my estimation to a fact. That's something they always do this. And I'm using always because I saw it many times. But anyway, you can say always, not many times. Whatever, just look at this little trick. From an estimate, they go to if 97%. You didn't establish that. You didn't establish if 97% of the Russian army is now committed to Ukraine, with an attrition rate very, very high and potentially their combat effectiveness depleted by 40%. Again, potentially. Estimate. He makes here a scenario, okay? In this one, depleted by 40% and nearly 2/3 of their ranks destroyed or broken. That has a direct impact on the security of Europe, he declared. All this is zero value right here, because he's with estimates, he goes with potentially, and he goes if. All right, that's a scenario. Thank you very much. But anyway, he's allowed to do that. I'm all for that. What I'm saying is, you don't bring evidence, my friend. You don't bring evidence based on facts. You just turn words around. And again, I think what Russia is doing in trying to advance is doing in a sort of human way, almost first war levels of attrition, and with success rates of a matter of meters rather than kilometers. Again, I told you that I read an article and I made a video, I think 2 days ago, where the Americans were reporting that the Russian advanced 2 to 3 kilometers in 48 or 24 hours was it. So these guys, again, meters rather than kilometers. You are, again, not accurate. But hey, you are an intelligent officer, I'm assuming, or if you're not, at least you are in charge of something like that. And one of those departments is doing what you're doing, providing certain kind of words that people do not bother to look into or use their logic and find out that you are just BSing. Wallace goes on to say that the biggest unknown is, you're going to give us that unknown, is what happens when you have Russian leaders who either have a gap of reality or no regard for human life of Russia's own. So what's going on here? They are saying, not for me or for you, they say that, actually for Russians, this is directed towards the Russians, the Russian population. Actually, your leaders do not care about you guys, and they're far from viewing reality as it is, as I see it, with your estimates right here, and with possibilities and ifs and buts. Thank you very much. Ukraine, yeah, UK Defense Secretary for you. Now, I'm not saying you should not listen to these guys because you learn a lot. I learned, and I learned by watching them. But the thing, in order to analyze and try to figure out if these guys are telling you the truth or not, you must know something or a lot about the subject. And after a while, you find the same tricks used on you by these guys and by mass media. How a long time ago, I got to realize that, hey, wait a second, something is wrong here. I said it in a few of my videos already, is when I used to watch History Channel. You remember that History Channel? Yeah, BBC and all this and so on. So I watched at that time I had some knowledge. I was maybe in the very early 20s, maybe 21, 22, 23, something about maybe that. And I was watching, I always liked documentaries. When I was a child, I used to watch, it was Teleencyclopedia in Romania, communist Romania. It was every Thursday at 7 p.m. Teleencyclopedia, 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. I think 7 p.m. And Romania had about 3 hours and a half TV program during those times. 3 hours and a half, one channel in the communism system. So yeah, you want it, you're gonna have it. Don't tell me, oh no, it doesn't have to necessarily to be like that. It's gonna end up that way. Unsustainable system, what do you want? Anyway, so I was watching those as a child, animals, plants, historical events, whatever that. Very interesting. I think it was half an hour, 15 minutes, half an hour it was. I remember everything about that. Was my time. Left football, girls, climbing trees, going for birds, eggs, fighting, going, and everything was done. Slingshots and all that, nothing. I was going over there and stay over there and watch it. So I watched that. I was like 20-some, 21, 22. And these guys at History Channel, they were telling us about an historical event in the Second World War. By that time, I read a few books on World War II. And these guys were telling me about an incident in the World War II, and they were pointing some fingers, and they were drawing a conclusion based on a historical fact. And I realized that they draw a conclusion based only the facts they liked. Because I knew 50 times more than those guys exposed in that documentary about one particular situation, event. So I said, if you add all these things to your, 10% that you expose here, out of, let's say, 20% of how much I know about the subject, that tells me you are insincere, intellectually insincere. And I said, I catch you with this because I know something about it. But when I watch things, historical things that I don't know about it, and I'm learning, and you reach a conclusion, because they always do this. When they tell you about the Roman Empire or the Augustus, or Nero, how Nero sang his harp while the Rome was burning and so on, they give you just a little bit. And then they draw a conclusion, Rome and the Romans were deprived, and they were, idiots, and the masses were fighting, and then these guys were opulent and living like the billionaires nowadays. That's the whole thing. And they were just rotten. So yeah, the population, the rubble is the great. The people over there, they're just rotten. This was the whole thing, the whole spiel. So I said, well, if these guys are telling me this about the subject that I know of very well, how can I assess another documentary about another subject that I don't know anything, or I know a little bit? I'm trying to get information on that. I said, no, I'm not going to watch these things. Not. I'm going to watch them if I know something about, just to see how they spin things, how they ignore certain events to make reach a certain conclusion. And that conclusion, remember, I watch that, you probably watch it, other people watch it, and then don't know anything about, let's say, a subject. They say, oh, let me learn from a history channel. They're going to tell you, okay, let's learn about this. And they're going to make that, oh yeah. And then when you go in your life, that's all you know about that subject, and you will remain with that. When you're going to have a conversation with someone else, and you're going to parrot back what you saw on the History Channel. You said, okay, I got that cover. No, you didn't. You didn't. You have to go and read, I don't know how many books if you really want to know. So that's why it doesn't mean you should not look for things, but these guys are just, no. The same with the mass media. Since then, I said I'm not going to watch these guys, because how can I know when I watch a documentary on History Channel, those guys are not lying to me, lying by omission. I don't know, I can't verify. The same here. This guy is telling stuff, and it's like, I don't believe anything this guy is saying, just so you know. I'm just looking to just see what kind of techniques they use. And they use the same techniques over and over. I tell you why. Because they know, and they are not very, very smart, they know that the population is not very, let's put it this way. So it works all the time. And it's people like you and I who can see through these things, but how many are like us? Not many like them. They are more than we are. And remember, you don't have to have a unanimity. You can have 40% of people. You can have 60% of people. That's enough. If you have 40% of people that go to vote, and the other 60 don't vote because they're sick and tired of this little game here, then who's winning? The ones that were propagandized in that kind of direction. So anyway, give me the numbers, Wallace, and when you give me the numbers, make sure you bring the right ones and I can verify them. Thank you very much for being with me again today. 97%. Maybe they are 97%. I'm not ignoring that. Maybe they are. But remember, don't cry about 1 million people over there, Wallace. Russia potentially can bring 30 million people if they conduct a general mobilization. 30. So shut your pie hole. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. And that makes you wonder, why are the Russians employing only 1 million then? Don't they want to win? Would you want to end this thing up like this? I don't know. We'll find out.